Hello, welcome to my Let's Play of Tyranny. This is a new isometric game by Obsidian, similar to Pillars of Eternity. Let's get started. I have not read much about this game, but I'm hoping it's pretty good. Difficulty setting. So we got story mode, which minimal micromanagement and easily forgives combat mistakes. Companion combat AI is on by default, and party members do not receive wounds until they're knocked out. Normal. Companion AI is still enabled by default. Hard mode, which is suitable for veteran players. And survival requires micromanagement, optimization of stats through items, spells, and abilities. Enemy AI is more efficient and uses abilities more often. And then Path of the Damned. Enemies receive bonuses to most stats, have most efficient AI, frequently use abilities. Parties take more wounds during combat and when being knocked out. Difficulty level can only be chosen when starting a new game. Then we have Expert Mode, which disables a number of helper features. Players who want to rely on their own faculties and intuition when playing a game should play in Expert Mode. When this option is selected, cannot be enabled, and if disabled, cannot be re-enabled in that game. Well, let's just try it. We'll try Path of the Damned in Expert Mode and see what happens. All we can do is just restart. If we get brutally murdered. I didn't turn on Iron Mode because that's even more crazy. Loading. It's a pretty long load time.
For over 400 years, the armies of Kairos the Overlord have swept across the known world. All who stood against them fell before their might. Even the Archons, women and men of immense power, were forced to kneel, chained to the Overlord's will. Now Kairos' final conquest has come to our corner of the world. And two of the Overlord's armies compete for the honor of taking our lands. The elite disfavored, and the teeming horde of the Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Nerat, spy master and archon of secrets, guides the fierce and undisciplined masses of the Scarlet Chorus. With each battle, the Scarlet Chorus grows stronger, as the defeated are given a simple choice. Serve or die. Graven Ash, Archon of War and the Overlord's most loyal general, leads the disfavored. Though small in number, Kairos' ironclad legion has never met true defeat in open battle. Watching over the two generals is Tyranny, the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, eldest of Kairos' minions. Tyranny brings Kairos' laws to newly conquered lands, aided by the Fatebinders, judges and executioners of the Overlord's laws. You were among the youngest of the court of Fatebinders when Kairos' armies came to our lands. How could we have known that the fate of thousands would rest in your hands?
Alright, so it sounds like we got two crazy armies fighting each other. Let's see, we get to choose our gender, male or female. We got body types. Looks like tall and skinny, thick and normal. Let's go just with a normal human-looking dude. That sounds fine. In the Northern Empire, where you were born, men enjoy equal protections under the laws of Overlord Kairos. Kairos is the name of legend. For centuries, the Overlord has consolidated power, sending vast armies to swallow entire realms. The most powerful mystic in the world has ever seen, Kairos can issue edicts, magical proclamations that level cities, spread pox, sunder the lands, or change the course of seasons. The Archons, the masters of magic throughout the known world, bow to Kairos, and the Overlord readily destroys any Archons unwilling to kneel. These sorceresses and madmen lead the Overlord's armies in near endless conquest. As the realms of the known world fall to the Overlord, these captured territories are divided up amongst the Archons to manage. Able to deliver suffering and woe to every corner of Tetrius without leaving the capital, few have ever seen the Overlord in person. Though Kairos' name is the single most recognized name in the world, only the Archons can say what the Overlord looks like. Okay. So Kairos is some crazy mystic that lives and can send out crazy magic to control the Archons who are fighting constantly. Alright. In the southern lands of Tears, only men may own or captain ships, but real estate is restricted to women. Men may lease, but durable ownership of the land in the Tears is always passed to the eldest daughter or sisters. Most sons enter their father's possession by their mid-teens. Those without a profession or family lands to work can find purpose by pledging service to one of the Overlord's mighty Archons. Criminals, derelicts, and others are often conscripted into the armies of the Archons. If a child cannot forge his own skein, he will certainly find one in battle. Alright. So that was our role. So we're basically like doing all these steps to kind of create our character. Let's see, we have... This is altering our like facial appearance, huh? That looks fine. Here we got some hairstyles. Got a whole bunch of hairstyles, looks like. Kind of neat art style, kind of like toon shaded. Kind of bland hair colors, though. You don't have any like crazy anime hair colors. Male sneaky.
Got it. I'm injured, tired. Let's rest.
See that?
Flawless!
You learn something every day. Yeah, I'll just hold on to this.
Got some tattoos. Super green. I think that might be pretty good. He looks kind of like a warrior. Portrait. You get to choose any portrait you want, including female portraits, which wouldn't make much sense at all. But hey, whatever. These games are always weird because you have to match up like who you created with a portrait. It's like, well, none of them exactly look like me. I guess this dude is like probably the closest, which is that guy kind of looks like me. And that one's kind of closer. Let's go that one. All right. Origin. Today you are a Fatebringer, agent of the Archon of Justice. You are by no means free, but as a warrior, scholar, deputized with the discretionary powers to intercept and execute the laws of the Overlord Kairos, you are freer than most. One does not apply to be a Fatebringer. One is called by Tunon. Who's Tunon? Tunon the Adjudicator is the Archon of Justice, ruler of the conquered realms, and arbiter of the disputes. Oldest of the Archons sent to conquer the Tiers. Tunon speaks with Kairos' authority. His true appearance remains hidden behind an iron mask, the fate of judgment. Tunon is an impartial, sober creature wholly obsessed with justice and order. Though assumed to be a powerful combatant, Tunon rarely strays from his throne room, entrusting his court of Fatebringers to act as his eyes and ears, as well as his judges, juries, and executioners. Alright, so one is called by Tunon, the Archon of Justice, and to decline is death. Millions of men and women live in the dozens of realms ruled by the Overlord. How did you stand out amongst this teeming mass of desperation and insignificance to gain the Archon's notice? So we have some options here. We can be a pit fighter, hunter, and they all have like text with them. So there's like a bunch of text in this game. Let's see. Pit fighter, hunter, guild apprentice, noble, scion. You're like basically noble-born, soldier, lawbreaker, war mage, diplomat. Pit fighter sounds pretty good. He kind of looks like a pit fighter. Not wishing to pay to feed and house the madam that purchased your mother sold you to the Proving Grounds, the Northern Empire's bloodiest, most notorious fighting arena. Given only enough training to assure the show isn't over too soon, your natural prowess and survival instinct led you to the one victory after another. There was no elegant swordplay, no formalized duels. Just brutal melee and the stench of blood, shit, and bronze with each day's gruesome necessities. It is said that any fighter that slays a dozen others in the grand melee is given her freedom. But in 300 years, only 3 warriors have ever walked away from the Proving Grounds. When the closing horns sounded and 13 corpses lay at your feet, you became the 4th to be granted freedom to thunderous applause. But this autonomy was short-lived. Within days, word of your accomplishment made its way to the Archon of Justice. That's kind of a cool story. I want to read about Lawbreaker, because Lawbreaker is also kind of neat. Accused of a crime you most certainly did commit, you stood before Tunon, the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, and argued your case with elegance and conviction. Impressed by your logic, reason, and confidence, he found you guilty anyway. It is rumored that Tunon selects many of his agents from his prisoners. Who better to catch the wicked than those versed in such ways? In his mercy, Tunon offered you the choice of 2 sentences: decades of languishing in prison or a lifetime serving him in the court of Fatebringers. The choice was an easy one, and instead of seeking the inside of a cell, you were trained in letters and numbers, magic and war. The laws you once broke are now yours to interpret and enforce. That's kind of a neat one, but it seems suspicious to me that Tunon, who's like one of the archons, like a really important guy in this land, would waste his time with a criminal. Like maybe one of his one of his fate bringers would think about criminals, but not him himself. It's just kind of a strange plot. Vormage. Few have the combination of wits and courage to be accomplished casters and warriors. Those cursed with such a combination of talents are invariably pulled from their mundane lives and assigned to the armies of the Archons. Your earliest memories are a painful slog of training, study, lecture, and exhaustion, all the elements of being groomed for battle. You know better than to ask what became of your family, nor to question the missives allegedly penned by their hand that were part of your earliest lessons in reading. When you reached adulthood, Tunon, the educator, came to the barracks and laid claim to your life. Seeing you too valuable for the crucible of battle, the Archon of Justice deemed your life better spent dedicated to the art of the punitive legal remedies. Though you had much to learn in the matters of civil discourse, none could deny your bright future as Tunon's next great enforcer. Kind of a boring story. I mean, it's a cool character, it's just that the story's not all that fleshed out compared to like a pit fighter. Diplomat. Though they never would tell you why, Cryos bestowed great wealth upon your family for some unmentioned service, and your parents used this wealth to have you raised far from home. Your childhood was a nomadic tour of Tetriatus, with hired tutors and fleeting friendships. Where others had stability and routine, you had worldly and varied education. A careless world in a far-flung city landed you in legal trouble, and you were taken before Tunon the Educator and made to stand trial. Not only did you plead your innocence, but you turned the accusation around on the accuser for wasting the court's time, and the Archon of Justice concurred. Amused by your wit, wisdom, and adaptability, Tunon claimed you as his newest enforcer. That's kind of a better story. Kind of amusing. It's kind of crazy that Kairos actually knows your family, since he's just like this secret force behind everybody. Let's see, we read all these. Soldier. Unable to settle the year's accounts with grain, your parents offered you as tithe to the overlord instead. Seeing your first battles as a child, you've known all your life how to fight, how to stay calm at the sight of blood and disembowelment, and how to rely on your fellow warriors. Deemed smarter than your average killer, you were groomed for command and given an education in letters and numbers. With rumors of war, it seemed recruitment into the disfavored legion would be the obvious match for your skills, but the Archon of Justice is known to say that good iron is not used for swords, and good minds are not used for soldiers. Claimed by Tunon, you were instead drafted in the Court of Fatebringers, where your martial skills were put to use to the enforcement of Cryos' laws. That one's alright. 3 more, shall we read them? As well. Hunter. When the leader of your home spoke out of turn, one time too many, agents of the Overlord put the whole town to torch to contain the spread of insubordination. The Bounding Viper tribe came across the smoking ruins of your village, and when the beast's matriarch found you frozen but unafraid, the mighty leader took you in and raised you with the protection of her tribe. For years you lived with these wild beastmen in their migratory homes throughout the mountains. But the Bounding Vipers were a dying breed. Each long winter took a greater toll than the last. And once the dwindling tribe was too weak to defend its lands, disfavored soldiers came to dispense the ravenous scavengers your tribe had become. Finding a human amongst the wild tribe, the disfavored soldiers made a point of taking you alive. News of this wild child of the north eventually spread to the Archon of Justice, and he ordered you released from captivity and delivered unto his courts. It's kind of a neat, kind of a cool backstory. Guild Apprentice. Deeply proud of your intelligence, your parents always knew you were too smart for a life spent with your hands in the soil. Looking to secure a better future, your parents struck a bargain with the Seven Tree Guild, a small magical order willing to teach you letters, numbers, and magic, if you prove capable. For several years, you learned much from the mages, mastering reading and writing faster than the rest. Eventually learned the basics of mystic theory and spellcraft. Your magical studies came to an abrupt halt when the voices of Nekrat. Okay, let's read about those. Voices of Nekrat. Known in his official capacity as the Archon of Secrets, the Voices of Nekrat is equal parts genius and madman. Rumors abound that he can steal the minds of others, though few, if any, are alive to confirm as much. The subject of his interrogation are never heard from again, and the Archon is able to recall the memories of his victims with startling accuracy. He is the inconsistent leader of the Scarlet Chorus, vacillating between commanding the vanguard and directing his armies in absentia. Despite his strange methods, no one doubts that the Voices of Nekrat is an accomplished strategist, even suggesting that his madness stems from thinking hundreds, perhaps thousands of steps ahead of his enemies. Kind of a cool opponent, or kind of a cool general. Archon of Secrets, deemed the guild's peacetime distraction that must be disbanded for the upcoming war. Its mages assigned to proper armies. While your peers went on to other guilds, your mind was seen too valuable to be wasted on the armies. Instead, your life was claimed by Tyranny, Archon of Justice. That's kind of neat, I guess. Sounds alright. Last one, Noble Skyon. Born to noble parents, you were groomed for leadership. Your youth spent on letters, history, rhetoric, and the matters of culture and statecraft. Though you had wealth and creature comforts, you were expected to grow up quickly and bear the honor of shepherding others through prosperity and war. When your parents came under the accusation of sedition, you were sent to the court of Tunon, Archon of Justice, to defend the family's actions. Your parents were found guilty. Their sentence, the dissolution of the treasonous estate. Eloquently pleading your own ignorance on your family's actions, you negotiated the most important deal yet. Immunity from the crimes of your family at the simple cost of swearing fealty to the Archon himself. Despite the unwilling induction, your education and savvy made you a valuable addition to the Archon's cadre of enforcers. And as long as you remained in good standing, your family might just be allowed to live. Kind of weird. Anyway, I like the Pit Fighter. I guess these all just, I read these because I want to learn the backstory of this game. I think this game's mostly about, kind of telling a story. So yeah, it takes time, but I don't know. I find it amusing. All right, let's go with Pit Fighter. And then we'll actually also call it an episode, and we'll continue next time on Tyranny.